Hello, today I bring you a chat that I had with Dave Toomey. Many of you will know him as the guy who set up and runs the hugely popular and friendly Beaver Builder Facebook group. Some of you may have heard about his Beaver Builder podcast called Beaver Dojo, which, as I record this, is soon to be released. We also talk about his other page building and marketing activities over at solopowered.com. Apologies for the less than professional interviewing on this. I was really excited to be joined by a really smart, eloquent and witty friend. So I've left it exactly as it was recorded. He's not generally somebody who likes to put his face on camera, so this is kind of nice to have. We also talk a lot about people in the Beaver Builder community. So I hope you enjoy this, and I'll see you on the other side. Hello, Dave. Thank you. Should I say top of the morning just for our American folks? And how is it in Dublin's fair city?
Well, actually, I'm about an hour outside of Dublin, but I'm in the middle of the country, and I don't want to come across as a yokel, but there's a good chance you'll hear a cockerel out the back at some point, or a dog barking or something. Because it's that's the problem with the country. There are smells and sounds. But yeah, top of the morning, the Tom Cruise School of Irish Accents. Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know where to start with this interview, really, because, I know you, and I guess a lot of people who are going to watch this will know you because you're the person who set up and runs the Beaver Builder Facebook group, which is...
for my sins, yeah.
I know, but it's the center. I mean, it's changed my life. You've changed my life, Dave.
I've actually, funnily enough, the best compliment I've had is one person who will remain nameless actually told me that I saved their marriage. So that's an interesting one. But I'll take all the good credit, and all the bad credit I'll push off on other people.
Yeah. How many marriages has it destroyed, though?
Yeah. That close to my own. Yeah. What are you doing? I'm on the Beaver. Get off that thing. Yeah.
Exactly. Actually, that's interesting because my wife joined actually the other day now, so I have to behave myself in that group.
Oh no, really?
Yeah. Well, she is a user.
God, I got to be careful now. I dread the day that Nathan Wrigley's wife joins, because all she'll see is me slagging him off. So I'll be like, no, it's cool. We're friends. This is just banter,
Yeah, I know.
I don't like that Dave Toomey fellow, Nathan. I don't like him. He's no good.
Hey, Dave, for the people who don't know who you are, because I'm sure there's some people who listen to this who actually aren't in that Beaver Builder group. So you want to tell us just a little bit about yourself and what it is you do?
Dave Toomey. Basically, I run a web development agency / consultancy called Solopowered, solopowered.com. Basically, my area of expertise is helping speakers, coaches, and consultants with authority. So we do websites, email, little bit of traffic generation, podcast production, which I'm sure we'll talk about later, membership and courses websites. So basically, you're an expert and you have expertise. You want to get out to the world, and you have challenges getting that onto the internet and using the internet to further your business or your career. And that's what I help with. So we basically take your expertise and ramp it up online for whatever way you're struggling. So that could either be finding new clients or finding new people to put your expertise in front of, or producing the systems that allow you to sell your expertise in the forms of courses or membership sites, or promote yourself in the form of websites, email series, or podcasts. And that's my main gig, as it were. And like everybody else, I started out doing generic stuff. So I still have toomeydigital.com, which is basically my old clients. That'd be anything from a car mechanic to a dance school that I've made WordPress websites for.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's my people.
Yeah. Yes. Well, it just so happened that as over time, I've done very little advertising, very little content marketing, very little promotion of my own services just for other people. And over time, my business has grown through referral. And it just so happens that the majority of people, I sat down and just looked at who I was working for and with. And it turned out 90% of them were speakers, coaches, and consultants. And it just happened to be the way that my business developed. So it just made sense to concentrate on approaching my business in such a way that I was attracting those kind of people.
Yeah. I think I regret that I don't have a niche, and it's every time I talk to somebody who kind of has a type of person that they do websites for or work with online, it seems to be to their advantage. So do you still do much of the sort of more generic stuff now, and is that more problematic compared to your target, your niche group?
I think the other thing about it is there are stages to building a business, especially when it comes to web development, and that you start out with a lack of confidence, shall we say, right? Because you can, whether you've got a degree level education or you're self-taught like myself, the business side of web development or producing websites for other people is lacking, right? We don't get that education. So if you start out and you're taking any job you can to get experience and your price level's low, but you're learning and you're moving forward, I think there's absolutely no problem with being a generalist, none whatsoever. Now, you don't have to niche. It just so happens that there are a couple of benefits to doing it. One is you can raise your prices because you become the expert in that area. I don't know about America, but I know in the UK, like if I'm looking for a wedding ring or something like that, I'm not going to go to Argos or Walmart, even though I can buy jewelry in Argos or Walmart. I'm going to the local jeweler, But if I want something quick and fast and cheap as chips, I'm going to go to Argos or Walmart. I'm not necessarily going to look for a specialist high street store. So the differences between those two types of businesses, mass production and low cost versus specific area and higher cost. I won't say high, but higher. So when you niche down, you can actually charge more. Secondly, your perception as an expert. Well, if all I do is portray to the world that I'm an expert in one field, people are more likely to believe it. So the next time somebody mentions, oh, I need a website in this niche, then they're more likely to remember you as the expert rather than, oh, just go and see this Joe Blogs down the road who does websites. Well, if I'm looking for a particular type or I have a particular type of business, then I'm more likely to look for somebody who's an expert in that area. So, and the third one, I suppose, well, third and fourth is you get to know what you like. So you might be a fitness fanatic and you like to develop websites for gyms or, fitness experts because it's a passion for you. So you're more likely to keep up to date with trends. You're more likely to know the language of their customers and help with the styling and all that kind of stuff of website development. But and I suppose the fourth and last one is you can repel clients. So, we've all had them, clients that have just landed on your doorstep. You don't know them from Adam, and you say, this is great. I'm going to make whatever it is money out of them. And they turn out to be the client from hell, it's so if you're able to portray that these are the type of people that we work with, you're less likely, it'll still happen, but you're less likely to get a client that you end up regretting working with because you didn't know anything about their business. It didn't matter to you. It was just a website. But it turned out that, it wasn't just a website. It was a lot of hassles. Yeah. So they're the main, I'd say, reasons that I like to niche down into that area of speakers, coaches, and consultants, because I know them. I've worked with them, and the referrals I've had over the years tend to be in that area.
Yes. Yeah, and they seem like they're going to be a fairly educated bunch of people, I guess, as well, and that kind of helps as well as you are.
And they're also more inclined to understand when you say to them, well, look, I've got expertise. You're an expert, so you know your thing. I've got expertise. Let me help you do this part of what you need. And they're more likely to say, well, you're the expert. You help me out here, and I'll take your word for it. Whereas I've had some clients who perceive that they're the expert in building websites in the past, that I'm just the hired help. And I find I do better work when I'm a consultant for my clients rather than just the guy who builds a website.
Sure.
We see better results from it. So.
Yeah. Can I take you back to where it all began? I'm fascinated how people got started just making their first website.
It's one of those things really where I was doing some work and it's like, oh, I need a website. Okay, well, I'll talk to my friend down, I used to know, and I think he's in web development. And look, I need a website for this. And then, oh, that'll be 3,000 euros at the time. So I was like, no, I'll go and figure it out. So my very first and only website made with Joomla, and oh God, it killed me. So I said, there's got to be a better way out here. And then I think I saw something. This is long pre-Facebook or pre-social media. I landed on WordPress, but I'm not even sure it was WordPress that back then. It was like, God, what was it, B2 or something like that? It was called something. I can't remember. It's that long ago. I mean, how mad is that? And all these new people coming into WordPress, they don't know how lucky they are, but, and then it was a matter of just knuckling down. And it's one of those things where, it's like my wife is a gardener, and she doesn't get it. It's like, oh God, I just moved that there, and look how good that is, and how beautiful that is. And she's like, it's a bloody website. You're out there planting plants and things. To me, it's just green stuff that dies if I don't give it water. So you have that passion. It fell in. It just, when I started building my first website with WordPress, it just became, oh, this is brilliant. This is cool. And it became the thing I did to just relax, Yes. So, and next thing you know, friend goes, oh, that's nice. Will you do me one? Okay, so do one. And then the next thing you know, somebody contacts you and they're not a friend, but they're a friend of a friend of a friend. They're like, oh, I hear you build websites. I'll give you some money and will you build me one? What money? What? And I say, oh yeah, $250, and I'm like, oh, okie dokie. So next thing you do, I've built that website, and it's like, okay, and so you start then finding other people that are like you, and they say $250, that's way too cheap. Okay, next time it's $500, and that just snowballs. It just moves. Next thing you know, it's a reputation thing. People go, oh, this is the guy to talk to, and that's where you end up, full time building a business and helping people with their business, and that really excites me. Is not necessarily the sitting down and the hex colors and the margins and the padding and all this kind of stuff. It's about using the tools to help a business grow. Yes. So that's the exciting part for me.
Yeah, and I guess you've been around, well, longer than I have doing this. So you probably changed in the same way that when I first started, it was really just about getting stuff on a site somewhere so you could look at it. And I think almost everybody at that time, that was their concern, just to get their stuff online. Now we're more concerned about users, and you learn stuff that your SEO and really conversion particularly is something that over the last few years, but which we'd never really thought about in those early days of building sites, I guess.
It's funny, the more we learn, the more the old things matter as well, because I'd say one of the most important thing with any kind of website, whether it be lead generation or whether it be sales related, whether the first thing you got to do is have a goal for what you put out there. So if your website is to generate leads, that's all it should be about. If your website is about sales, that's all it should be about. Now, you got to make that decision fairly early on. But the thing that I've found the most helpful in modern day website development is actually a very old thing, which is copywriting. Yes. So you can have all the tricks in the world with SEO. You can have all the tricks in the world with internet speed or search engines or paid traffic or anything at all. But what it comes down to is somebody lands on a website and goes, you convince me to waste my time or spend some of my time with you or spend some of my hard-earned money with you, right? I have what you want, time or money. I want you convince me to give it to you. And that is as old as the hills, like the old masters of copywriting and direct marketing, so it's the more things change, the more they go backwards as well to the old days, of using copywriting skills. So and I mean, as a web developer, that's by far the biggest challenge we have is website copy. It's not something I like doing. I can do it. I prefer writing email copy to actually writing static copy. So email copy, you can be a little bit more funny and things like that. So hopefully a couple of people watching this will be on a list that I, write my emails out to and enjoy them. But it's using those old storytelling skills is still more relevant today. Whereas, trends in social media, trends in, is it audio, is it video, is it text, what's the next big thing? The constant throughout the whole thing is copywriting and design. So,
yes, I think you're right. Actually, you just reminded me, because I think the first interview I listened to of you, you were on Lee Jackson Dev, which is now Angled Crown, I think, isn't it? So you were talking there a little bit about agency.
Never heard of him. Lee Jackson. Never heard of him.
Yeah, so you do a little. Do you want to talk about agency scribes? I know that's not what we were talking about today, but
to be honest, I've moved on from agency scribes. It was a small business that I actually started with a family member who's an amazing copywriter. Like, she writes articles, she writes copy and everything. And agency scribes came about because too many of my web development agency friends were like, I can't get my client to give me copy. God, if there was a service out there that I could actually, connect my client with a writer and we could get the copy done, I would get paid quicker. My website would, the client would be happier, all this kind of stuff. So I got like 50, 60 people, saying, this is a service I need, this is a service I need. So we had a chat one weekend, and by the following weekend, me and my sister-in-law had this business set up and got it running with a few clients and everything. But the problem was there was too many moving parts, in the sense that we were offering web developers the service of them being able to offer copywriting and content writing to their clients.
Yes.
So you weren't the direct client, you were their third party. And that, I think, scared web developers a little bit. So we did some work out of it, but it fizzled off really. And it wasn't the quality of the content in any way, shape or form. It was just that we misjudged the market. So, yeah. But it's still relevant, though. It's still relevant in the sense that copy is a really important part of my business and my, helping my clients.
Yeah. Everything seems to be focused on that at the moment. Nathan, as we talked about earlier on our podcast, had
James Rose.
James Rose, that's it. Yeah. So Content Snare.
Amazing service.
Yeah.
And beautiful as well. I love the fact that it's actually a very nice UI and UX, which is too many services like launch or software, and it's all buggy and it doesn't look nice and everything, But Content Snare, I think, is the name of the company. Looks really nice, really clean.
Yeah. I've gone completely off what we're supposed to be talking about. I want to talk about, because we're recording this, but it'll go out maybe a couple of weeks later. But by the time it does, you will probably be doing your new thing for Beaver Builder, folks, your podcast.
Yes, Beaver Dojo.
Yeah.
So it's been a while in the making. I first talked about doing Beaver Dojo podcast easily 12 months ago. Like, I remember having a quick conversation with Robbie McCullough, and he's saying, what's going on? I said, well, I'm thinking a lot of doing a podcast. Oh, that's brilliant. Make sure you contact everything. So it's one of those that I've been slowly tipping away in the background while I've been doing work and looking after the Facebook group and stuff like that. And it just came to a head there recently where I was like, come on, Dave, stop messing around. Just get it done, And I must say, I'm inspired by WP Bill's podcast and, Kim Doyle and Lee Jackson and people like that have consistently put out content from a podcast point of view. And I was like, look, I do it. Now, it also turns out that one of my best friends in the world is a big name podcaster, or was, he's pod faded a little bit now, but I'd say about 3-4 years ago, for at least 2 years, he was one of the top podcasts in iTunes for businessy type stuff. And his life just moved on, so the podcast faded a little bit. But in fact, we're as a family, they've come and stayed with us in Ireland. He's based out on the west coast of America, and we're going there in October. So just in time for my son's birthday to go do the Halloween thing at Disney. And he's like, so I'd say 2 years now. You need to do a podcast. You need to do a podcast. You need to do a podcast. And I'll get to it. I know. No, you need to do it. You need to do it. So, it just came to the point. It was like, okay, time to do it. Put up or shut up. So, So I spent a little bit of time getting my ducks in a row, and now it's at that point where I'm lining up interviews, and I've, I've said it a million times to people like yourself. If I put it in the calendar, it gets done. So there it is in the calendar. There's my launch day. So I have to do that. Now, the funny thing is, I do podcasts for. I actually run everything, the recording of the audio. I have a few clients that they sit down with a microphone, record their audio, or interview someone like we're doing now over Skype and record that audio. And then I get an email with the audio, and everything else was done by my company, Solopowered. So it's like, so the cobbler's kids don't have any shoes, it's
Yes.
it's about time that I did it myself, because I know how to do it. I know how to launch a podcast. I know how to get traction. I know how to build a website. I know how to connect iTunes, all that kind of stuff, because I do it, but just never done it myself. So it was like, okay, let's stop messing around and get it done. But I mean, it was always going to be about Beaver Builder. And I've had this conversation with a couple of people about, well, how can you make a podcast about Beaver Builder? Once you talk about Beaver Builder once, okay, fair enough. So it's not really about Beaver Builder. It's about the people, because I was writing an email yesterday, and it was like, this is not about me. It's about you. Like, you are the community. And as a group of people, the Beaver Builder community is the envy of the WordPress community. It is, because there are, I've friends that own WordPress plugins or own services or own websites or whatever, and they've tried to build communities around those services, around those, and they've struggled. If they've got traction, they've had difficulty with the type of people that are in that community. I'm being nice here, Mr. Waumsley. But we haven't had, a couple of blips, but the Beaver Builder community, not just the Facebook group, but all the other things going on, is just amazing. I mean, amazing people. Like, I've met, God, I don't know, I'd say at least 10 to 20 people that now I consider very, very close friends, like yourself, that I've never met. And there's a good chance I will never, ever, ever meet. But I would consider them as good a friend as the guy I went to school with for 20 years. And that's come through the Beaver Builder community. Like, I mean, I know you and Nathan Wrigley have yet to actually physically shake hands, but I would think you consider me one of your best friends. I know that, this just from knowing both of you, and that kind of relationship with people, and it just astounds me. So the podcast is about the people right from the beginner level, somebody who's learning Beaver Builder at the very base level, and somebody who owns a WordPress agency and has 5-6 developers, and they use Beaver Builder as part of their dev stack. And I want to talk to everybody, the whole lot in between, the guys that made Beaver Builder, the people who just bought the basic package and are trying to use it to help their small local business, and the guys that are doing the things that are just way over my bald head. I have no idea what they're doing, but they're using Beaver Builder to do it. It's just, the likes of Jay Oakey and Doug Bellchamber and Lee Jackson and, some of these guys, and just in rarefied air. But I don't want to talk about the bits and the bytes and the code necessarily. I want to talk about how they got there and how Beaver Builder has improved their lives in terms of they've been able to develop their businesses or their websites to improve their situation. So you're either profiting by gaining time or getting money. Those are the two things that software and productivity tools give us. And Beaver Builder has been exactly that for me. So I want to talk to other people about their experiences with Beaver Builder.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm doing it.
Yeah, I'm going to be a fan. I mean, I think you're right. The community is growing all the time, isn't it? I think in the moment we're going to nearly 8,000.
And that's mind blowing.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I don't know. I mean, okay, I wasn't part of the community before Beaver Builder, but I can't imagine there's anything quite like it for the friendships that I've really replaced most of my friends and family with Beaver Builder people.
I'm still married. Just about. I'm still married. Saved my own marriage, but no, it is the people. It astounds me. It astounds me that I've always felt like, I'm quite a personable person. I get on with most people. I like most people, not everybody, we're all like that. But it's just the people that are in the Beaver Builder community, and not even necessarily the ones that are open and brash and have the types of personality that will put themselves out there, and I could think of a few names, but even the ones that just quietly just reply with a couple of sentences, and you just go, "That's fantastic," either technically brilliant or humorous. Yeah, I want to know more about this person. Like, I mean, it's just, and you get to know people, just ping them a message and say, "Oh, how are you getting on?" And just wanted to chat. Loved what you said there. Next thing you know, you're spending hours chatting about stupid things and nice things and little things, and Beaver Builder has done that. And I sometimes wonder if Robbie, Justin, and Billy actually understand what's happened, because there's no way they sat down in an office and said, "Right, lads, we have to produce a page builder for our client. We'll give it 6 months of development, and then, do you know what? We'll sell it as a product. Oh, and by the way, a couple of years down the road, it's going to have a Facebook group with 8,000 people, and it's going to be fantastic." That didn't happen, but it has, and it's just astounding. And I've talked to Robbie a little bit about it, and it astounds him. I'm interviewing him soon, and I'll be asking him about that. It's an incredible group of people, and it's the people that make it. It really, really is.
Yeah.
And I love being part of it. It's just an accident. Well, it's not really, but it's a small part that I started the Facebook group, and I'll leave it at that. But it's something I'm very, very proud of.
Yeah, as you should be. Yeah, I mean, that's it. I think it's because of the nature of the guys. There's so much sales talk, but they were just genuine people who were passionate about what they did and honest and open. And I think that's what carries on through the group. You set it off in the right way with just a few words that's still on the top of that Facebook group, which is kind of, I forgot what they are now, but it's "Be Nice" is one of the main ones.
Be nice, be helpful, Beaver.
Yeah, and that's that's all you need to know.
It's amazing what we can do. It's what you can do in Photoshop in about 30 seconds, because that's what it took. and it's become a thing, and as things were developing, like Robbie says, "Oh, here, by the way, our designer Brett Jet, we're just doing to maybe take a punt at doing a couple of graphics for the face." Absolutely, no problem. And of course, he did the one that's there now. He kept the "Be Nice, be helpful, Beaver," and just thought that was brilliant. That sentiment had been, embraced by the guys at Beaver Builder HQ. So again, 30 seconds in Photoshop. That's what the original one was. I think Brent spent a little bit longer than 30 seconds in Facebook in Photoshop designing the current one.
I think so. Hey, can I ask you how you actually transitioned to Beaver Builder in the first place? What was you using before it?
Using is probably a strong word. I wasn't using anything, but I was looking for something. I tried Visual Composer. That didn't last long. I then tried Divi. Now, this wasn't because I thought it was better. It was because I didn't know about Beaver Builder. I didn't know about the other options. I struggled with a number of clients wanting to use Theme Forest themes. "Oh, well, here's the theme of Theme Forest. Can you use that to build my site?" And I'm like, "Look, you do realize that the demo site that they have there, your site's not going to look anything like that. That's like thousands of man hours tweaking and adjusting and adding custom CSS. And this is not out of the box. That demo site, yours isn't going to look like that." "Oh, no, it is. Use that." So you get in, use it. Next thing you know, you got Visual Composer hell. And I said, "You do realize that, your site's going to die. It's going to, this thing is like trying to run a marathon while dragging your car with your wife and kids inside it. That's what's going on." "Oh, no, use it. I can't. Just struggle. So I had a look at Divi. Same thing. I found it very, very difficult. And this is going back, 3 years? So you have to remember that a lot of these, what we call second generation page builders. So first generation is Visual Composer. Everybody knows that. Second generation is the likes of Divi and others that tried to move a step forward, but instead of looking at it from a a code-based point of view. They looked at it from a visual point of view, make it look nicer rather than fixing the engine. They were looking at giving it a paint job. So it was Visual Composer like in its usability and how long it, what it did to a website. But let's give it a fresh coat of paint. And that was things like Divi and all of these. But it was still back end rather than front end. And then I have no idea how. I still struggle to this day to remember exactly how I found out about Beaver Builder, but I landed on Beaver Builder's website, opened up YouTube, typed Beaver Builder, opened up Google, typed Beaver Builder review or something, I don't know, and had a good look around. I think I may have noticed Kim Doyle mentioning it. I don't think she'd gone full on it. She was still using Thrive Content Builder. I think that was Thrive Content Builder was the first one I looked at and used as a front end page builder. But I was still struggling with the usability of it because it was very clunky. And then I found Beaver Builder and did a bit of research, and I had my credit card out fairly darn quickly. Now I bought the pro version, not the agency version, because I couldn't see the value in the agency version at the beginning. So I bought that and used that for a while, and just like almost immediately, I think I've got 5 or 6 friends in the Beaver Builder group that have never posted. And it was because when I started the Beaver Builder group, I was like, here, go look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. Go, I was like promoting Beaver Builder, not as an affiliate, just promoting it to all the people that were friends and saying, look, you got to look at this. Oh, I don't like page builders. Oh, no. I got a code from scratch. I was like, no, you can sit in your high horse or you can come work, with this. And that's what I loved about it was you could see very, very early on that it was a company that were passionate about producing a product that did a job brilliantly without all the bells and whistles, but was good enough to last the pace. Because I'm sure there are software products and I'm sure there are services out there that were just amazing, but just fell by the wayside, agency scribes, because they didn't get traction. And I was so invested in Beaver Builder getting traction. But the funny thing was, there was a very small little community at the beginning that were also invested in, like Chris Lima, people like that, who were promoting Beaver Builder in the very early days. And it got traction very, very quick in the right places. And I think that's how it survived. And I think I just got lucky by setting up the Beaver Builder group fairly early. I think it was, I'd have to look it up actually. But I think it was fairly early, and I've gone off track now. I think I'm lost. But that's how I started with Beaver Builder and transitioned into using it. Was being frustrated with what else was out there.
Yes, absolutely. And you stuck with it. I mean, there's competition now. I mean, even within our own group there's a lot of talk about other page builders all the time because there's more and more coming out. But you're like me, really solid, even in terms of the theme as well that we use with Beaver Builder. Is that in every job that you do now, Beaver Builder? I mean, I guess you do some other things, but it is. Yeah.
No, pretty much. I mean, I have lifetime licenses to Genesis, to Dynamic Builder, to Generate Press, to a few other themes that were developed for page builders and things like that. I have them because I like to play around. I like to play with the toys, and I'm not going to be one of these people that 20 years from now is stuck on Beaver Builder because there's nothing better. At the moment, as far as I'm concerned, it does exactly what I want. It's being developed. They're resisting the temptation to put all sorts of bells and whistles into it, unlike other page builders. The theme is nice and clean. Everything is fine. I'm really happy. My clients are really happy. But I do play around with the other things. And, there are some modules or things that I would like to see in Beaver Builder, but they're personal preferences. They're not something that would benefit the community as a whole to have that added into the base plugin or one of the other add-on plugins. So I'll go and develop a custom module myself. Now I'll get someone to do it because it's the ones that I've tried to do haven't been totally successful because my coding skills isn't the best in the world. I get by. So I understand, like, our good friend Paul Lacey is very, very much into Generate Press as his thing. I know a couple of people have tried Elementor Page Builder for personal websites, but have kept with Beaver Builder for client stuff. So there's always going to be competition. There's always going to be preferences, but it's about, using what you like, but understanding those decisions and choices about what you use, benefit of your clients in terms of web development, page speed, all those kind of things. It's not just because, I call myself the chief fanboy of Beaver Builder, but it's not because I wouldn't necessarily move on and use something else if they made a mess of it in 6 months' time and things started to go really, really wrong. My clients pay my bills, so they get the best. And at the moment, Beaver Builder is the best. It has been for 2 to 3 years. And even though things will come and go, it looks like the guys in Beaver Builder are going to continue to keep on top of it. Does it mean it's perfect? No, not at all. There wouldn't be a knowledge base. There wouldn't be questions in the forum in the Facebook group. There wouldn't be talk about a forum and which hasn't happened or worked out. These things wouldn't exist if it was perfect, but nothing is. But they listen, they change, they adapt, they move with the times, they listen to the community, and they're open to discussing things. But they won't just throw everything in, and Beaver Builder is not pimp my ride. It's not, well, let's put 26-inch speakers in the back. Let's have a car that works, that goes decent speed, and everybody's happy with what it does.
Yes, and it's the audience again. I mean, that's why I think, because we've got a lot of friends here, that we are a bunch of people who are either doing this for profession, so we need professional tools, and it's attracted those. It has gone outside of that because it is a sort of page builder for everybody. Everybody can now manage it, but essentially, I think why I trust Beaver Builder is that their slow progress is the thing. I don't want something that's going to change every week, because it's going to cause problems for my clients, and that's me. Yeah, Beaver Builder, why it's there.
Well, stability is important for any website. You don't want things going down every 5 minutes. You don't want everything breaking on you, and particularly if you're a developer and you've got clients that rely on their website for their business. Like, you make an adjustment or a tweak, and it could have an effect on their bottom line. So you've got to be very, very careful. And I think that's one of the things, particularly about the theme over the Beaver Builder plugin, is that they've been very, very careful to look at backwards compatibility when they've done upgrades and updates, is because, well, we know, because the way the plugins work, there's 50,000 installations of the Beaver Builder theme. Now, if we go to Beaver Builder theme 2.1.7, does it break all the sites that are currently loaded with 1.9.3? And okay, like, I'm being very simplistic for web developers out there that are watching and listening to this, but those kind of things, these 3 guys in an office are making decisions on a daily basis that affect businesses out there that rely on their website for income. They break something, some guy might struggle to put food on the table for his kids. Now, okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I'm prone to that. It has those kind of knock-on effects, and I won't name names, but there are businesses out there that have fallen down and left a lot of people in the lurch, whether it be themes or plugins or whatever, and it can have serious consequences. So you got to be careful, and that's why it's really, really important. Whether I'm buying the standard version of the Beaver Builder plugin or I'm got the agency and I'm using it for building clients, that the company, the people behind the product that I use are really, really important. I mean, God knows how many times somebody has come across and said, "Oh, this plugin does this. Go for it. It's brilliant. It's fantastic." Yes. And I said, "Well, no, I'm going to use that." And I said, "Well, this is much better." I know, but that's been around for 3 years. Yeah. And there's 3 years worth of support, questions and answers in the WordPress repo from the builder and the developer of that software. And that's important to me. It's not being left there to die, but also it's not 5 minutes old. I'm quite happy to go and play around on a development site, but I'm not going to rely necessarily on something that's new without knowing the people behind the product. And that's what I love about Beaver Builder guys from HQ, is that they're, we bandy around the word passionate about doing stuff. These guys are, like, I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, even the people that they've brought in to work with them are passionate, like, Brett and others. It just, it's amazing how their personalities have stamped onto the product and the people who use the product.
Yes. And I think also it's easy to forget that, yeah, this is important to me as well, is that they know they built it from the ground up. It's really
Mm,
Justin's work, isn't it? And they're the
yeah.
first to page build in this way, where you're using the WordPress editor as well
Mm,
instead of shortcodes. So
mm,
it's theirs, really, that concept of doing that.
mm.
And they built it from the ground up. And I don't know anybody in that situation who knows their code inside out and developed the idea. That there isn't that amongst the competitors, as far as I can see.
It's a fantastic thing, but it's also, it can be a little bit restrictive as well, because if you're somebody like Justin, you don't necessarily want to hire in a team that 2 or 3 or 6 months down the road you're looking at the code going, this just isn't my vision. So it is a tough one. I mean, what we really need is 20 Justin Boozes. You know, uh, we need more Robbies and Billies as well, but but don't leave him out. Don't leave him out. But it's interesting to hear Robbie talk about his day-to-day involvement in the actual code. Oh, I can't. I don't do it anymore. It's very, very interesting. But it's one of those things about how fast do you move forward, without affecting your vision for a company, but also the people that are around, the fans, the users, etc. If you go too fast, obviously you make mistakes, but can you lose that vision and passion that seems to ooze out of every pore of your body for a project, for a product? And I think that's, a lot of people always said, oh, can we have this and can we have that? And even the time it took for Beaver Themer to come out, it was like on the edge of the seat, waiting for it, waiting for it, waiting for it. And like, I could have been in the Beaver Builder group every 5 minutes going, Robbie, how long, how long, how long? And you just take time. These guys know what they're doing. They're going to take their time. They're going to do it right. And that's what I wanted, and that's what I still want, and even something as simple as their connection with GoDaddy scared me, a little bit. It's and I'll talk to Robbie about that, but I think they did it really, really well. I'm not a fan of GoDaddy in any way, shape, or form. Now I know GoDaddy are not the GoDaddy that I hated and learned to hate, but I've had experiences with GoDaddy, left a bad taste in my mouth, so I wasn't a bit too keen on them building a relationship with them. But look, they've done it the right way, and it's helped stabilize stabilize their business the wrong way, because their business was stable, but it's helped convince me that there's a long-term future for Beaver Builder in its current incarnation, that it's not going away.
Yes.
That a company like GoDaddy is not doing a deal with a fly-by-night operation. It's just not. There's no way someone that big is going to be working and spending a lot of time promoting, we won't name names, but, page builders or any other service that just, you don't know if it's going to be around in 5 years. I know Beaver Builder is going to be around in 5 years. There's a history behind it now.
Yes, I agree. And I think it's just the approach is ensuring that they're thinking ahead about, they're looking back on history and how things can go wrong if you just add according to what people ask for, but they're really thinking about long term. I can see that. And also in the way that you're saying we could do with more Justins, but I can see that that's developed as well in quite a nice way. I think the people who are working for them now, the developers, there's another one, Simon, there's a UK guy, Simon Pros.
Yes. I
Prosa.
should know this.
Yeah. He's new and he's been doing the theme and Brett. Is it Brett or Brent? I was kidding. Brett. Yes. Brent. No,
I get it, Brent.
But they seem to have appeared as kind of community members, contributing to the core, I believe, in the first place, in the same way that people like Sujay and Puneet are from Power Pack and Ultimate Add-ons. It appears to have grown in the way that our community have. So I like that. Anyway, I'm not asking you questions now. I'm talking. You've got me.
That's fine.
It's talking to an interviewer.
Contrary to popular opinion, I do like to listen to you, David.
Oh dear. Hey, I don't know how long we've been going on, but I must ask you a little bit, because I do, just for
Yeah.
consistency, a little bit
Yeah.
about the place that you're from and Dublin. And
Yeah.
I ask everybody just where they're from and to sell their local area.
It rains a lot. It rains a lot. So if you're a sun worshipper, don't bother. But I mean, it's funny because like I suppose your audience, our audience, would be the majority of them would be American and North American. Um, it's Ireland has that Tom Cruise castaway leprechaun. It's just like your country and g'day governor. And I've had a lot of American friends that have come to visit Ireland purely because of relationship that I've built online and things like that, or recommended stuff, and they just realized that it's nothing like they thought it was, but it's even better. It's magical. But the thing that surprises me the most is what I would consider day to day normal things or normal stuff, and they just fall in love with. It's a beautiful, beautiful country. It's a nightmare to live in because the cost of living here is ridiculous. And when God knows what's going to happen with Brexit and all that other stuff going on.
Yeah.
But it's funny because we have a very, very close relationship with the UK because you were our imperious warlord rulers for 800 years. Not bitter at all. And half of our country in the 1800s left and went to America. So because our imperialist warlord overlords didn't give us any food. So we're in that funny situation where we have a relationship with the UK on one side and America on the other side. And we're this little tiny country that has such a massive influence on culture, on, sport and everything all over in both sides of the Atlantic. But it's opened a lot of doors having this accent. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful, beautiful country. And what I would recommend to people is a lot of people will come, let's say for a week or 2 weeks to Ireland and spend the majority of it in Dublin. Do not do that. Spend a day in Dublin, see what you need to see, plan it before you come here, read all the guidebooks, do the Dublin thing, and then get out. Go down the west coast. So go straight across from Dublin to Galway and then go up or down. And you can't lose. It's just some of the nicest countryside in the world. But anyone's going to say that about their own country, but it really is. It's gorgeous and it's beautiful. I've got friends that came over and they're used to desert, living in Nevada, and they just went around and just couldn't believe like the different greens. And I'm like, it's green. There's green there and green there. It's just lots of green. That's what I see every day. But it was a wonderful occasion last year to look at my own country through the eyes of somebody that had no idea what Ireland was like. So it's a beautiful country, beautiful people. Don't live here; it's too expensive.
Yeah, I think it's Jonathan Power. He's another guy in the Beaver Builder community now, starting to do some videos as well. He's
a lot with pods,
Dublin.
isn't he? In integration with Beaver Themer, and I think he's in Dublin. Yeah, there's a couple of us now. I don't know any of them personally, which is weirdly, because it tends to be Americans and Brits that I know, and a couple of New Zealanders as well. Hi, Clark. That I know better, and it's growing to the point where I think most major countries in the world is going to have some kind of Beaver Builder community meetup situation at some point in the next few years, and it'll be like Beaver Builder Ireland or something, where we'll all get together for a couple of pints of Guinness. That I can see that being a definite in the future. I mean, I've said it to Justin and Billy, or Justin and Robbie a few times. We have to have BeaverCon. At some point, somewhere in the world, we have to have a Beaver Builder conference. It'd be just cool. We just make sure that Doug Bellchamber does all the presentations.
Yeah, absolutely.
2 days of Doug Bellchamber.
I'll be happy with that.
He's so good.
Yeah. Okay, I better ask you, is there anything that I should have asked you, which we haven't talked about? There's loads of stuff we could talk about, but anything in particular?
No, I mean, well, firstly, I would like to thank you for your contribution to the Beaver Builder community. I don't know about mine. Jesus, I'm just a facilitator. You're an actual contributor. So I think the Beaver Builder community and WordPress community at large would be less if you weren't around. So thank you. I really do want to say, cut that out. You leave that in. I know what you're like. Typical British attitude to compliments. No, I mean, Beaver Builder is going to grow, and I'm just proud and happy to be part of that growth, And again, I don't mean necessarily about the software, and I mean about the community and the people. And long may it continue. I've made lifetime friendships out of $69, whatever the hell it was, way back when, $97 or whatever it was, and I've got lifetime friendships out of it. I've got I've businesses out of it. I've put food on the table out of $97 that I pay a year, whatever, less than 40% it is now. And it's the people that has done that. And I mean the people that in Beaver Builder and the people like you outside of, the actual people who make Beaver Builder. And it's been one of the most extraordinary things in my life the last 3 years. It really has. And I'm typical male 40s Irish, this whole hugging trees thing doesn't go down well in my upbringing. So it's been an experience to actually connect with such wonderful people and learn about their lives and what they do and be part of their lives in some very small manner. And long may it continue. So, and if you want to, Beaver Builder podcast, beaverdojo.com.
Absolutely.
Get a plug in there.
Yeah, well, we'll all be listening to that. I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's a great idea. Yeah, and I'm just hinting that you really need someone like me on as a guest.
Look, the people are coming out of the woodwork going, I stupidly made the assumption that there's about 12 people that that they're going on it no matter whether they say yes or no. I'm not asking them, and you're top of the list. You, Nathan, and others are like, these guys are going on it. I'm busy trying to get people that I don't have that connection with onto the podcast. Yeah. I didn't bother about you because it was done deal. It was read. David Waumsley, Nathan Wrigley, Lee Jackson, Clark, Marshall. I'm going to forget names. Paul Lacey. They're going to be on the podcast. I don't need to ask them. They can't say no. Simple as that.
Yeah. Well, there's a ton of people I would love to hear speak. I can't think of names. I think Guy Barry's one of them who's there all the time answering people's questions.
Guy's top of my list of people that I don't have a connection with that I want to have a connection with. Yeah, definitely.
These people just turn up like that, and I'm fascinated, and we know nothing. Yeah. So, looking forward to it. Okay. Well, I think we're done.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great. Thank you so much for this. And it's just left for me to say goodbye. I'm David Waumsley, and you are...
Dave Toomey.
Hey.
we should have planned that, shouldn't we? We should have actually worked that out before we started doing this. I'm going, my name. Have you got my name? Oh, I'm supposed to say that. Dave Toomey. Hi. Beaver Builder. And I've just realized I spend an awful lot of time looking at the picture of me down the little backhand corner instead of straight at the camera. So it's going to look strange. So I apologize to anybody who's reached this point and realize I don't have squinty eyes. I'm actually looking at a little picture in the bottom of the screen here. So I'm forgive me for that.
Okay. Well, I'm going to stop recording now. So we'll say bye.
Take care.
Properly.
Bye.
Bye.
Till next time.